Hey guys, my name is Olivia and I am a fashion and portrait photographer here in Atlanta. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about my favorite fashion lens. I don't just use this for fashion, I also use it for portraits as well, but this lens is predominantly used for my fashion portrait. So the lens that I'm talking about today is the Canon 24 to 105 millimeter lens. Obviously, it doesn't have to be the Canon brand for you, depending on what company that you use for your camera, but I use the Canon one and I absolutely love it. So the first reason why I absolutely love the 24 to 105 millimeter lens, that's a mouthful. So the reason why I love this lens is that it's a zoom lens essentially. So it can go as wide as a 24 millimeter, so I can get landscape shots or full body shots, or I can go down to 105 and get tighter shots, more so of the portrait end of things, not exactly macro, but definitely more of a portraiture, getting the headshots, etc. So as you can see here, I did take these pictures with my 24 to 105 millimeter lens at different focal lengths here, but I absolutely love how it just keeps it nice and sharp. It keeps the images consistent in terms of the quality. And the beautiful thing is that, like I said, the lens goes to as wide as f4. So what that means is I'm able to get some blur in the back, but not too much like a f2 or f1.8, which is a super wide aperture that will do great in outdoor situations. But I usually shoot studio, so with that in mind, I love this lens. If you were to take this lens outside, however, just understand that you can't go lower than f4. So if you're in darker conditions, let's say low light, and you really just want to have as much light as possible with your camera settings and your lens, etc., this might not be the best lens for you. If most of your work is outdoors, I definitely recommend maybe like 24 to 70 millimeter lens, because it goes down as low as 2.8 or 2.0, if I remember correctly. As for me, however, I have used this lens plenty of times outdoors, and it has given me great results simply for the fact that I am not shooting at really low f-stops. However, if I do want really low f-stops, I will grab my 50 millimeter lens and capture an image such as this. And I know a lot of people say that the zoom lens makes them lazy in terms of them just standing there and just zooming into the different focal lengths to get the shots. But actually for myself, it actually keeps me moving because I know that I can play with a different focal lengths. I can go as wide as the 24, so I can stand further back and get a full body, or I can keep that same 24 millimeter look and get closer, but then it's going to be more of a distorted, long legs kind of effect. Or I can go to like 90 millimeters or 105 millimeters, etc., and get that tighter crop. However, I can go close and really get in there and distort it a little bit more, or I can step back and just have a nice, good headshot. So it's all relative to what you got going on and your style and what makes sense to you to tell the story that you're telling with your images. If your story is to have very contrasted, sharp images, maybe you should pick up a lens that is within a higher f-stop so nothing is going to be blurred out and missed out. Many of my clients love the variety that I capture in terms of being closer or being further apart or being lower or being higher. Please use the gear that makes sense for the story you are telling. As a beginner photographer, I recommend a zoom lens because it allows you to play around with different focal lengths, and you're going to start to see a trend within your own work. You're going to start to see, oh wow, a lot of the photos that I've taken with my zoom lens always stays around, 75 millimeters or 90 millimeters, etc. And the beautiful thing about that is you can start to see that trend for your own work as a beginner photographer, and then start to invest in prime lenses, which will allow you to go to wider apertures like f2, etc. So you can just have a really broad spectrum of what you can do on that millimeter alone. So I highly recommend playing with a zoom lens. I think every photographer should have a zoom lens just to make sure that you have all the options that you need for the story you are telling. But I definitely recommend, if you want to invest in a prime lens in the future, Of course, but I recommend that you try out a zoom lens, such as the 24-105. This is just my recommendations. This is my favorite fashion lens. Another reason why I love this lens, which is something people don't, think about, is the size and the weight. For me, I am 5'8". My hands are bigger than most women because I'm 5'8". So I love that it has a medium weight to it, so I know it's there, because sometimes with like smaller lenses, like the 50mm, it's really compact towards the camera, and it's a little flimsy for me sometimes in terms of just a solid structure, and it feels like great quality. So in summary, I love this lens. It absolutely will carry me for many fashion shoots from here on. It is my baby. It is my number one. If I'm grabbing any lens, 9 out of 10, I'm using this lens. Most of my work in my portfolios with this lens, just because of how much I absolutely love it. It's not a very popular lens. I know the most popular lens is, of course, like the 24-70mm or the 70-200mm. But I definitely think this is like a great mid-range lens, and is not a hefty price compared to many other lenses, and it still delivers in terms of the quality and the sharpness and capturing everything that I need. And like I said before, if you're trying to have more of a creamier bokeh effects, bokeh is kind of like when it's blurry in the background, the lights are kind of out of focus. Definitely, I recommend getting a lens that has a wider f-stop, like a 1.2, 1.8, 2, etc., as this only goes to 4. This is a very good studio lens. So if you're looking for a really high quality studio lens to add to your arsenal of gear, this is the one. All right, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know down below, what kind of photographer are you, and what is your favorite lens? I would love to know, as I am shopping for lenses almost every day. I wish I could buy a lens every day. But yes, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.